Okay. So this class is going to be recorded. So the first term here is the first term of the sequence, this A. The N is just the number, the last number of your sequence. I'm gonna define that. And the D, okay, let me just write sequence here. And the D is the common difference. We call it a common difference. So in this two here, when we have this, you might have a sequence. I'm just gonna give you with a simple one. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say going on. So in this sequence, if we check, we say 2, the second term. This is like T1, it's term 1, term, and then term 2, and term 3, and so on. So if we say term T2 and minus T1, which is 2 minus 1, we will see that we get 1. Even if we say 3 minus 2, we're going to get 1. 4 minus 3, we're going to get 1. 5 minus 4, we're going to get 1. So these ones that we are getting here, we call them is our D. So the first term here in this letter, the first term here in this letter is 1. So if we check, which means your A is going to be equals to 1, this let term here, and your D is going to be equals to 1 also. The common difference that we get is what? Is 1. Camera here. Okay, so now the Tn is going to be equals to A, which is 1, plus N minus 1, multiplied by D, which is 1. So which means your Tn now is going to be 1 plus N minus 1, whereby it's going to be equals to N, because this one will subtract with that one. Then our Tn is going to be equals to N. So in this one here, when we say Tn equals to N, it means that if I want to find term 3, T3, I will just have T3 is going to be equals to 3. So if we go to our sequence here, you will see that your T3 equals to what? Is 3. So that's how we normally do it when we work with this one. So sometimes they might ask you to find the sum. Let's say, for example, we want to find the sum of the first 4 term. So first 4 term is 1 plus 2, which is 3 plus 3, which is 6 plus 4, which is 10. So the formula for finding the sum is we use Sn. Sn equals to n over 2 in brackets 2a plus n minus 1 d. So this is the formula to what? This is the formula for finding the sum. So in that sequence we are working here, if I want to find the S4, which is for the first term, 4 term, it's going to be n, which is 4 over 2 in brackets 2, in brackets our first term here, this is A, is going to be 1 plus 4 minus 1, and then our D was 1. So when you use this formula, we have showed that, okay, the answer here is going to be 4 divided by 2 is 2 over, which is 2 plus 3 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is going to give us 3. So the answer will end up being 2 in brackets 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 5, which is going to be equals to 10. So you will see that we got 10. And then if we add the first 4 terms in this sequence, you will see that 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So this is the formula you use to get the sum of arithmetic sequence. Do you have any question?
No.
All right. So the only two things that you must take into account now is the general, how to get the general formula. The general formula is Tn equals to A plus in brackets N minus 1D. And for this is for general what? Is for general formula. And then to get the sum is Sn. This is for arithmetic, you know? Yes. Arithmetic. Sn equals to N over 2 in brackets 2A plus N minus 1D. So now, if we're going to go to another one for quadratic, let's go to quadratic. So for the quadratic formula, I think here it must say quadratic. Yeah, quadratic, yeah, something like that. Okay, it's fine. So for quadratic formula, the Tn, your Tn equals to an squared plus is the same as the formula for quadratic, the one you lose for quadratic formula, an squared plus bn plus c. So in this sequence here, so the sequence for quadratic, you are going to, maybe it can say, let's say 1, 3, 7, 1, 3, 7, if we check here, if you say 3 minus 1, you will get 2. But if you say 7 minus 3, you will get 4. Then here we must have 6. Then which means the second term is going to be 18. Like that and so on. So when the common difference, the second difference, you see, we have a first difference. The first difference is not the same, but when we subtract these terms, 3 times minus 1 we get 2, 7 minus 3 we get 4, and 13 minus 7 we get 6. But when we go to another again, we have a second. We have a second difference. The second difference is the same. So if you say 4 minus 2, you're going to get 2. And 6 minus 4, you're still going to get 2. So the second difference is the same. So when you work it out for the second, this one, when we work it out, we are going to first substitute. The first A is not the same as this A here now. The first thing that we do here, we have a second difference. So in the second difference, you say your A, your A is equals to, you say, take this second difference is 2, you divide it by 2. It's like 2A equals 2. In other words, let me just rewrite it properly. Your 2A is going to be equals to 2, which is this difference. Then we divide by 2. When we divide by 2, we divide by 2 both sides. Then we get A equals to 1. So which means our Tn is going to be equals to n squared plus bn plus c plus c. So now the nice formula that you can use, we know that this is T1, is a term, T2, T3, T4. There is two ways you can use to answer this question, to get this B and C. But the one I prefer is that if you can use, you substitute T1 here is 1, and when it's what T1 equals to, when T1 is 1, so we can say when n equals to 1, when we want to find T1, our T1 is 1. You can say 1 equals to, you substitute, where there is n, we substitute 1 here. is going to be 1 plus B plus C. Ne? When you do this, you can solve it. When we solve it here, we can take this one, the other side is going to subtract, it's going to be 0. Then we're going to be left with B plus C equals to 0. When B plus C equals to 0, when B plus C equals to 0, this you make it your equation 1. Then you can take another term. Maybe you can go to term 2. T2, eta. Oh, okay. Okay, sure. Then your T2 is going to be equals to, just give me 1 minute. Okay. So our Tn, yeah, we're gonna use T2. T2 is the same as is 3. Then we're going to say 3 equals to n squared. So our n squared here, we're going to substitute 2. It's going to be 2 squared plus 2b plus c. So you will see that here is going to be 4. So we're going to be left with 2b plus c equals to, when this 4 goes the other side, it's going to be 3 minus 4, which is going to be minus 1. So this is going to be your equation what? This is going to be your equation 2. When you have this equation 2, then we can now subtract. When we subtract, okay, give me 1 minute. Right. So when we subtract here, we're going to use this equation 1. We can say we're going to take equation 2 minus equation 1. Ne? It's going to be 2b minus b. You're going to be left with b. Ne? Then you're going to say c minus c is going to be what? 0, which is equals to minus 1 minus 0 is going to be minus 1. Then when we have this is the same as our b equals to what? Equals to minus 1. When our b equals to minus 1, then we can substitute in one of the equation. I can even use this one here, or any, or I can use the first one. Let's just use the first one. If we use the first one, it says b plus c equals to 0. Then where there is b, I'm going to put minus 1 plus c equals to what? Equals to 0. Then this will imply that our c equals to, we take the negative side, negative 1 to the other side, and it's going to change the sign. When it changes the sign, it's going to be 1. So now we have shown that b equals to minus 1 and c equals to 1. Then our general formula for this one, our Tn, is going to be equals to n squared, because we already got even a equals to 1, plus minus, because it's bn, minus n, because here is negative 1, plus our c is 1 plus c. So this is your general formula for what? For quadratic, general formula for quadratic sequence. You see how simple it is when the first step, if you write down the first step, your 2n, the first step that you do is 2n, 2a equals to second term. Ne? I will just say second term. Second term. Then after that, when you get your second term, then to find b, you can use t1 and also t2, or you can even use t4. It's up to you which one do you want to go with, or t5 or t7. It's up to you. You choose one of the terms there. You do exactly the way I just show you now. Yeah. Do you have any questions so far, or you want to be clearly somewhere?
I understand.
Yeah, you sharp. Okay, it's fine. Then if you say so, then let's go to geometric. So geometric, okay, I'm not writing properly today. So in geometric, the sequence Tn, your general formula for Tn is equals to A R n minus 1. This is the general formula. This is the general formula. So to find the sum for a geometric sequence, Sn for the quadratic, I haven't seen that formula before, but I don't think it's there. So normally the questions they will only ask when it's quadratic, they will ask you only to get the general formula. So the sum for quadratic for geometric is Sn equals to A in brackets n minus 1 over A minus 1. Is Sn, let me check. I think I didn't write it properly. It must have an R, ne? I'm not writing this formula properly. Is A in brackets 1 minus R, ne? R to the power n over 1 minus R is. Do you see it? This is the formula. Sometimes a formula can say, I think it's also, there is two types. You can write it as Rn minus 1 over, as long as if you say Sn, you can also use this one. They give you the same answer, equals to Ra in brackets Rn minus 1 over, but if you start with Ra, I must say R minus 1 also like that. So these are is the formula that you use to get the sum of geometric. So geometric sequence, they are sequence like you will find 2, let's say 4, 8, 16. So when you divide them for geometric. When you divide, if you say 4 divided by 2, you will get 2. If you add 8 divided by 2, 4, you will get 2. 16 divided by 8, you will get 2. So this formula for ratio is like a ratio. But to find R, your R is T. It can be T2 over T1, which is going to be equals to T3 over T2, which is going to be equals to T4 over T3, and so on. So that's a general formula to find R. So which means in this frequency, which we are doing, our R is going to be equals to, when we divide, we got that is 2. And then our A is the first term. The first term in our sequence is 2. When it's going to be equals to 2. Then when we write our general formula Tn, our Tn is going to be equals to 2. And then in brackets, you can just, or without using brackets, 2 to the power n minus 1. Ne? When you say 2 to the power n minus 1, remember these two things, these 2 and 2, they are the same. The bases are the same. So you can just say it's 2 to the power what, n minus 1 plus 1, because of when the bases are the same according to the rules of exponents, you add the exponents or the indices. So the answer will be 2 to the power n. So which means our general formula is Tn equals to 2 to the power n. So if we want to find T3, our T3 is going to be 2 to the power 3, and 2 to the power 3 is the same as 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to give us 8. So we will check the term 3. This is term 1, term 2, and term 3. So if we check term 3, our term 3 is exactly 8. So that's how you get a quadratic, quadratic formula, the general formula for quadratic formula. For Sn, if you want to find S3, our S3 is going to be, we can say our A, it was 2. You will say brackets. If we are using Rn, we can say 1 minus, let's start with 1 minus. You will use the 1 from starting from Rn. Our R, it was 2. It's going to be 2 to the Rn, 2 to the power what, 3, in brackets, 1 minus, our R is 2. So if we check this one here, you will see that your answer is going to be 2 in brackets. 1 minus 2 to the power 3 is 8. 1 minus 8 is going to be minus 7 over 1 minus 2 is going to be minus 1, whereby 2 times negative 7 is going to be negative 14. Negative 14 divided by negative 1 is going to be 14. So if we add these first 3 terms, you will find that if we say 2 plus 4 is going to be 6. 6 plus 8 is going to give us what? 14, which is exactly the right answer. So I was just proving to you that the sum for geometric, it works. So now let's check the question paper. In your question paper here, they say the first term of a geometric sequence is 14. The first term of geometric sequence is 14. And the sixth term is 448. So now what we check here, calculate the value of the ratio. Calculate the value of what? Calculate the value of the constant ratio R. Ne? We are given the first term only and the sixth. We are given the first term and the sixth term. So now if we go to our board, the first term that we are given is T1. Our T1 equals to 14. And we know that T1 equals to A. Ne? And our T6 equals to 448. 448. So now we also know that the Tn, the general formula for this is A, Rn minus 1. Rn minus 1. So now what we do in this equation, we gonna know that, okay, which means our Tn, it was supposed to be in this form. A is 14, it's going to be 14, where there is A there, to the R to the power n minus 1. So now we can try to work it out in this way. The first thing we can do, we can say, okay, for T1, where T1 we know that is 14. When this is 14 equals to 14, where 14, whereby R, our T is 1. Ne? It's going to be R is 1, gonna be 1 minus 1. It's going to be what? It's going to be 0. Ne? Which you can see that for Tn, we're still going to get 0. But we can leave it like this. Then for T6, we know that T6 is 400 and what? 448. Is 448. We are using T6 now. 448 equals to 14 R, where n is going to be 6 minus 1 is going to be 5. You see that? So now, when we have this one here, you can be able to do what? To get R. Because now we can divide by 14. We're going to have R to the power 5 equals to 448 divide by 14. Then when we do this one, if you have 448 divided by 14, you can use your calculator and you tell me The answer, what is the answer?
32.
Equals to 32. Now we have 32 here. So now our r to the power 5 equals to 32. So what if we multiply r to the power 5, we can multiply it by 1 over 5, which is equals to 32 also. We multiply it, but what we do to the left hand side, we do it in the right hand side, 1 over 5. So if we do that, you will see that our r is going to be equals to 32. You can write it as 2 to the power, check 2 to the power 5. What is 2 to the power 5?
2 to the power 5 is 25.
2 to the power 5, 2.
2 to the
2
power
to,
5, 32.
yes, is 32, ne? Then which means 32, we can write it as 2 to the power 5 of what? 1 over 5. Ne? So you can see that this 5 multiplied by 1 over 5 is going to be 1. Then the answer here is going to be 2. So which means our r is what? Our r equals to 2. So did you see how I get r? To get r, I started first by substituting what? I started first by substituting the value of t1, which was 14. I put a, I got a. The first thing that I did, I say tn equals to 14, which 14 was, a is the first term of rn minus 1. Then after that, I use t6. Then t6 equals to 14 r to the power 6 minus 1, which is 5. And we know that T6 is what is 448, which is 14 to the r multiplied by to the power 5. Then you divide by 14. Then you're going to have r to the power 5 equals to this, which is 32. Then you multiply by, in order for you to eliminate this 5, you multiply by 1 over 5 so that it can be 1. Then we're going to be left with r. And what you do in the right hand side, you do it in the left hand side. So it's going to be r equals to 2 to the power 32. We know that is 2 to the power 5 over, in brackets, 1 over 5. So this one, we know that is going to, this 5 is cancelled with this one. We're going to be left with 2 to the power 1, which is going to be 2. So this implies that our r equals to 2. So that's how we manage to get the value of r. So the other question, it says, determine the number of consecutive terms that must be added to the first 6. Okay, determine the number of consecutive terms that must be added to the first 6 terms of the series in order to obtain first 6 term of the, to obtain the sum of 1.
100.
Yes. So now this question, it can sound tricky when you read it, but the moment when you see the sum, you must remember that when you work with a sum, you are going to work with Sn equals to what? A in brackets 1 minus r to the power n over 1 minus r. So now here they are asking that determine the number of consecutive terms that must be added. The number of consecutive terms that must be added to the first 6. First, this one, when they say first, to the first 6 terms of the series in order to obtain, okay, to the first 6 term of the series in order to obtain what? 114. So the first thing that you're going to do, in order for you to know how many numbers should be added, we are going to first calculate S6. When you calculate S6, you're going to say our A, it was 2, in brackets 1 minus our R is 2 to the power what? 6. You write 2 here to the power 6 over 1 minus 2. Then if you use your calculator, what is 2 to the 1 minus 2 to the power 6? What is 2 to the power 6? Is going to be 64, ne? So which
Yes.
means it's gonna is 64.
Yes.
1 minus 64 is going to be 63, negative 63. Negative 63 multiplied by 2 is going to be 126, ne? 126, this is 1 minus 2 is going to be negative. Negative 126 divided by minus 1, we're going to get 120. 126. So when you get 126, this is the sum. But we know that now, in order for us, because we have S6 here, which is 126, we are going to get the sum, which is Sn. You take this answer, you subtract it with this answer here. Then you will say, what is 114,674 minus 126? You will find that your answer is going to be 114,665. It's going to be 5 what? 126.
548.
548.
Yes.
548. Okay, 548. So 548 is going to be equals to A, we know that is 2 in brackets. 1 minus R is 2 to the power n. We don't know what is n now, ne? Over
Okay.
1 minus r, which is negative 1. So we can multiply this number by negative 1. We can do the cross multiple. When we do the cross multiple, you will see that we're going to have negative 1, 1, 4, 5, 4, 8, which is equals to 2 in brackets 1 minus 2 to the power n. So you divide by 2, both sides. We want to eliminate these 2. When you divide by 2, you can check with your calculator the answer you're going to get there. But I know that you're going to be left with 1 minus 2 to the power n equals 2. What is the answer here when we divide by 2? Negative
It's
1, 1.
it's negative 57 and yeah, negative
Can you
57.
repeat? Can you repeat
Ne
again? Can you repeat your network?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Negative 57,274.
Okay, it's negative 5, 7,
7.
2, 4, 2, 7, 4. Yes. So now you will take this negative, you subtract that side 1. It's going to be minus there. When you subtract minus 1, the answer here you're going to have minus 2n equals to what? Minus 57275. When you take this one the other side, then if you would multiply by negative 1, you will have your 2n equals to 57275. So now when you have this, you can use logarithm. Your n is going to be equals to log. You must remember this log in brackets 5, 7, 2, 7, 5 divide by log 2. You start by saying log this for this number, divide by the log. This is 2 here by log 2. So use your calculator with for that. Which answer do you get?
Is equals to 15.8.
Okay, just wait. I want to check something also. The answer you get 15.8
.8.
is true, which is we can approximately to be what? To be how many terms? To be 16 terms. So this is how you do. You see, did you follow how we were working it out in order for us to know the answer? So in order for
Yeah.
you to add the answer here, your number of terms that you must add is 16. But the first one you calculate, you get 15.8. Then you can round it to the nearest degree, nearest 10. So when you round it to the nearest 10, you're going to get 16. So this is exactly the answer for what we did. It was doing maths pay 1 November 2022. Let me check maths. Okay. So it's 2022 November, ne? P2, P1. Let's just do it fast. So the most important thing is to understand how to answer the question. So the moment when you know how to answer the question, then it will be more easier for you to, and like if you understand the strategy of answering the question, it will be more easier for you to answer the question. So let's check.
Mm.
We did question number 1. It was, we're doing question 2, ne? The first term
Yes.
here in question 2, you will see that A is that. Then we got R equals to 2. You see that you know how to get R now. I showed you. The second term here, maybe our N equals to N was 7, ne? But it's fine when N is 7 here. Okay, they got N equals to 7. And then if you check, there is some things maybe which means the value that we got there, it was wrong. Because here, if you put A is 14, 2 to the power 6 minus 1, which means 2 to the power 6 is not, 2 to the power 6 is what? We multiply it, we didn't multiply, I made a mistake. We multiply it by 2 instead of multiplying it by 14 in our questions. So we're supposed to multiply here. Our A was 14. You see, yeah, let's check. Yes, I used 2 here instead of with 14 that for the A. We're supposed to write 14 here. Then everything, if you follow, is fine. Then you can just cancel. This is, it's gonna be 800 and something. And then you change then the exactly the same strategy that we were doing. When you do it, you will get that answer, which is n equals to 30. So exactly
Okay.
the same way we do is exactly the same way we're doing is the right method. So which means now I want you to do something. I want you to rewrite it, this one, in a right way. And then the way I was doing, then you answer it step by step. Then you show me how you wrote it.
Okay.